breaking down all the plays and getting you in the action. We've got you covered all season long. Welcome to the BCSN Nation podcast, powered by Marco's Pizza.
Yes, sir. Here we go. It's the final edition of our first academic calendar year of the BCSN Nation podcast, powered each and every week by Marco's Pizza. I'm Justin Feldkamp alongside Mark Nell. We are wrapping up the spring sports season. We talk softball, we talk baseball, week after week after week after week. We started it way back in August with football, continued it with boys and girls basketball in the winter, and now culminated with spring sports as we lead into summer. Yes, we will be taking a little bit of a break as high school sports are not occurring in the months of June and July, but they'll crank back up in August, and so will we here at the BCSN Nation podcast. But we are pleased to wrap up the spring sports season today with baseball talk each and every Wednesday at 3 o'clock. A new episode of the BCSN Nation podcast drops wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube and bcsnnation.com. This is episode 40. You can follow us at our social media handles you see at the bottom of the screen. We're also at BCSN Sports for Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Check us out there. So what's on tap today, Mark? We're going to talk about the state semifinals. Two area teams got there, Anthony Wayne and Ottawa Hills. We're going to talk about first-team All-Ohio players. We're going to talk about which teams to look forward to next season. And then our question of the week poses it to Mark. Who made his first-team All-BCSN baseball team? So let's start it off with the Division I state semifinals. Anthony Wayne, walk-off for them, followed by a walk-off against them. They come up short in 9 innings in Akron against Olentangy Orange. They come up 1 run short.
Well, they couldn't walk it off because they were the visitors. So
correct.
But you know, that they played some tight baseball there, and eventually, you know, it's going to get you.
Yes.
And I think it did. It was a seesaw battle. I mean, they went 9 innings and it ended up being a 3-2 final. And I think at the end, what ended up getting them, obviously they lost it on a squeeze. It was kind of like a hybrid squeeze, safety squeeze type thing. And that ended up getting them at the end. But I think what really caught up to them is, I think, the strike zone. I think they struggled throwing strikes at the end of the game. And, you know, Olentangy had lots of opportunities throughout the game. So did Anthony Wayne, had a lot of opportunities throughout the game. And, you know, it's just one of those deals at the end. It ended up going Olentangy's way.
Yeah, and, you know, they had overcome some pitching snafus, if you'd want to call it, with a bunch of hits batsmen and too many walks and consecutive at-bats, even at the district and then regional level. And, you know, those 4 walks there by their relief pitcher, Dom Carlson, there late in the game. When you just put too many freebies on base and then with a strategic offense with Olentangy Orange, and, you know, they said, yeah, hey, we can bunt and push runners over, and that just kind of added up. And when you're trying to give teams 4 outs in an inning, and I think it just came back to bite them. But like you said, when you play so many close games, you can only win so many close games.
Well, they had nine walks, 5 hits batsmen. It ended up being a 3-2 game. And I mean, think about that.
Oh, I know. Right.
I know when we were in the state semis against Mason and in 18, we had 9 walks. We walked 9 guys and won the game 1-0.
Jeez.
So, you know, it's
getting out of jams.
Getting out of jams. But, you know, Tom Marker from Olentangy Orange, I know Tom very well. He's a high-level coach and ended up, you know, calling the squeeze or safety squeeze or hybrid. I know the pitcher from Anthony Wayne went from the full windup instead of the stretch. I was talking to Ryan Donnelly, and he's kind of kicking himself a little bit about that, but, you know,
telling him to step off and go from the stretch.
Yeah, they tried, but it was too late. With Mitch was a outfielder converted into a pitcher, so really he didn't grow up pitching a whole lot, but you know, that's the way it goes sometimes. Yeah,
Mitch Harder is the one you're referring to. Has been fantastic at the plate and contributing on the mound as well for them.
Well, if Mitch doesn't do it, he hit around 400 for him. Had a number of RBIs. Mitch also was, I think, 5 or 6-0 for them, and and coming out of the pen, everything coming out of the pen. I don't believe he got a start, but I think most of it was out of the pen, and that's where he's comfortable.
Yeah, so Anthony Wayne finishes the season 27-5. When you took the Generals there in 2018, being the state runner-up, they get to the Final Four this year, and Coach Ryan Donnelly doing great things and continuing really where you left off. And Olentangy Orange advanced and played Cincinnati Moeller, came up short. Cincinnati Moeller ended up winning it all. I believe their 8th state championship, so a powerhouse program down in Cincinnati. But what can you say about Anthony Wayne in totality, Mark? Because up and down the list, it's worth mentioning everyone on their roster: Cody, Tyler, Jack, Marco, Sam, Ben, Michael, Braden, Reese, Caleb, Mitch, Tommy, Zach, Michael, Bryce, Braden, Aston, Drew, Dom, Tanner, and Hadron. I mean, up and down the roster, when you get to this point, at some point in the season, each and every one of those guys found a way to contribute.
Well, 14 seniors, and they all did contribute, leadership roles, different roles, offensively, defensively, pitching, bullpen. They had multiple roles, and, the 14 seniors played a lot of baseball together, and they had some underclassmen contributors. But I will tell you that one thing that I do know, and we'll talk about this later, they're not going away.
Yeah. We'll have some talent back. Yeah, just looking at this roster right here, I know there are a lot of seniors, but key contributors who were underclassmen or juniors at least. So Anthony Wayne represents the NLL well. Of course, they were the first team in 30 years to go undefeated in the league, 14-0 against some top-tier competition, and Anthony Wayne represents not only the league but Northwest Ohio well in getting to the state semifinals in Akron.
And if I could say a couple more things, 14-0 in the NLL. It's the first time since, you said 30 years, 1992. Andy Tracy was on that team.
Yeah, Bowling Green.
At Bowling Green, yeah. So that's a tough league, and, we did it 3 or 4 times. We went 13-1. We just couldn't get that 14-0, and Ryan did a nice job of leading his squad to do that.
All right, so also in the Division III state semifinals, Ottawa Hills got through the region and advanced to face Apple Creek Waynedale. Waynedale, the defending Division III state champs, and they proved why they are legit, in the words of Coach Chris Hardman. After they lost that semifinal game, he said, that's a great team out there, and I think they're going to win it. They eventually did win it convincingly in the state title game this past Saturday. But with 4 runs coming across the dish in the 6th inning, Ottawa Hills just didn't have enough offense on their side, and they end up losing that state semifinal game to Waynedale.
Yeah, pretty exciting at the beginning. They jumped off to a 2-0 lead, took advantage of an error for the second run. And Sebastian Stevens on the mound, he was throwing very well. He was kind of in a groove. The one thing that I'll say that maybe I talked about during the broadcast is Waynedale made him pitch and throw a lot of pitches early in the game. And I think that's where, when we got to later in the game, when I believe they scored 2 in the 4th and 4 in the 6th, his pitch count started getting up there pretty good. And he started getting tired, started getting the ball up a little bit, lost some of his velocity. But, he competed to the last pitch. And, Waynedale is a great team. A kid named Trey Barkman, I believe, is a pitcher that's going to Ohio U. He threw in the state Final Four for him last year. You could, after the first inning, he was a little bit uptight. You could see maybe overthrowing. But he settled right in and threw a really nice ball game for them. Yeah,
he threw a complete game, allowing just 2 runs. One of them earned, gave up 3 hits, 6 strikeouts, 1 walk on 123 pitches. Yeah. So leaning on a horse who can deliver there, 123 pitches, nothing to sneeze at that point in the season on the big light stage of the state semifinal. So, OU right there. OU, I'm going to represent alma mater there with the Bobcats. I'm glad that they got him coming to Athens after this season. But with this Ottawa Hills team, we talked about it, Mark, several times during the regular season on these podcasts, because Coach Hardman, 43 years, he's a legend in Northwest Ohio baseball communities, and to have the caliber of competition that they face, D1, D2, even as a D3 school, and playing other D4 teams within their TAC conference schedule. But they had 11 losses. They went 22-11. So most teams are 27-5 or 30-3. But Coach Hardman goes out and schedules those difficult teams, and it pays off with trips to Akron for the state semis.
Absolutely. As we've mentioned before, Chris is not afraid to schedule anybody. And when I was the years I was at Anthony Wayne, I was one of his first phone calls, and we had some pretty good teams. And you look at the teams that he played throughout the year, the St. Ed's and so on and so forth. So many different Division I large schools, very good programs, and he's not afraid to play any of them. And you can't look at the record when you get to the tournament. It's a new season, and that's why he does it, to prepare him and his team for that. Yeah,
and their two main pitchers are both coming back. Sebastian Stevens, a junior, will be a senior, and then Jackson Snyder, a sophomore, who came on in a little surge there in the second half of the season, showed that he could take the ball in big moments. So both of them will be coming back. Some of the key departures, A.J. George going to go off to college and play football at Columbia. But some other notable guys from their team will not be back as graduates of Ottawa Hills. But this team, much like Anthony Wayne, when you got some pitchers coming back, you're going to be able to contend and possibly find yourself back in a deep postseason run.
Oh, I don't think there's any question he's going to be back. And, I know that his goals will be the same, to try to win the conference. They ended up not winning the conference this year. Toledo Christian won it, but that'd be one of their goals, and to make a deep run in the tournament. And when you start it with pitching, you find a guy behind the dish that can handle the pitching and make routine plays, which Chris teaches fundamentals very well. And, he had a solid JV team as well, so I'm sure he'll fill in some spots. And obviously, you're going to miss some kids, but, it's time for somebody else to step up, and that's what Ottawa Hill seems to do year in and year out.
Yeah, hats off to the Green Bears. They've had a great run, and the community really rallied around them. List off their names as well, just like we did with Anthony Wayne: Andrew, Reddick, Noah, Brady, Garrett, Sebastian, Rocco, Anthony, Colton, Nash, Cooper, Tobias, Sean, Jackson, Charles, Luke, Jack, Mitchell, Ian, Landon, Jason, Atchison, and Colin, Finn, Jacob, Ian, Maxwell, Daniel. Congratulations to all of them for representing the 419 over in Akron, and best of luck with your summer seasons. And then as you get into the off season and get in the weight room and work on all those other drills that you can in preparation for 2024. So Anthony Wayne and Ottawa Hills, both with terrific seasons, reaching all the way to the state semifinals. We continue on here on the BCSN Nation podcast, powered each and every week by 𝗦𝗽liche Pizza. Feldkamp family just had Marco's not too long ago. Get yourself any types of menu items there. Always a good stop. Locations all over Northwest Ohio and Southeast Michigan. I'm Justin alongside Mark here. We're going to mention the All-Ohio. So media, coaches talking input on the voting across the state of Ohio. A number of players from Northwest Ohio were voted first team. Northview senior first baseman Alex Dupree, Anthony Wayne senior pitcher Braden Weiss, Eastwood senior shortstop Case Boos, Archbold senior outfielder Creighton Kern, Toledo Christian senior outfielder Lucas Donawa. Second team members: Whitmer junior third baseman Connor Barber, Bowsher sophomore outfielder Roy McCrandle, Rossford first baseman senior Brandon Swope, BG senior shortstop Brock Hastings were second team members as well. Archbold senior catcher Devin Morris, Eastwood senior outfielder Jackson Bauer, Gibsonburg sophomore pitcher Nolan Hoover, and Arcadia junior second baseman also made the list. Adam there did. So first team and second team members across our area voted All-Ohio. Congrats to all of them. We're going to get to a number of those guys who are also included in your first team All-BCSN that you came up with. But a number of teams obviously going on deep tournament runs. We just talked about Anthony Wayne and Ottawa Hills, but a number of players from our area represented at the state level.
Well, first thing I noticed, you had to catch your breath because that was a long list.
Mm-hmm.
There's some great players. Northwest Ohio baseball has got some fantastic players, and a lot of people. I know I'm from Cincinnati. You're from Cincinnati. Before I moved up here to take the BGSU assistant baseball job, I didn't really know a whole lot about Northwest Ohio baseball until I got here, and I'm like, wow,
yeah,
there's some good talent up here, and and that shows it right there, and it shows what we're doing and what teams are doing in the tournament around here, making long runs and competing against high level teams throughout the state of Ohio.
Yeah, so all of those guys, congratulations not only to them, but to their parents as well and their coaching staffs that helped develop those players into first and second team All-Ohio representatives. So congratulations to them. So let's look ahead to next season. We talked about Anthony Wayne and Ottawa Hill, so keep them to the side, Mark. What are some teams that you've come across or you think, based on research or your own eyeballs and calling some games for us at BCSN, who do you think some teams that could be on the rise, or who should we look out for in 2024?
Okay, I'm glad you said that, because one team that we didn't talk much about this year didn't have the year that they typically have is Perrysburg.
Okay.
Perrysburg lost 5 seniors that he was counting on for various reasons. We spoke about a little bit in the past.
Coach Dave Hall.
Dave Hall, yeah. They used some kids probably from the JV team that normally would have been on the JV playing varsity level. That's a big jump. They got some experience. They only had a couple seniors. I think they'll be back next year. I see a rebound out of Perrysburg.
Okay.
I think that's a big one there. Ottawa Hills, pitching. Just kind of like Anthony Wayne. St. Francis, I think, had great young talent, even though they're losing Josiah Hurd, and he's going to Eastern Kentucky University. They had some good young talent. 𝗦𝗫cie going to the NBC.
Yep.
Todd Erie, I think, is the guy for that program.
Okay.
And I like 𝗦𝗫cie baseball. I always like 𝗦𝗫cie baseball. They have a great Little League program and a great feeder program. So I see them doing some damage in that league as well. Toledo Start, they're the king of the hill in the city league, right?
Yep.
10 years in a row?
Yep.
Is that so? They'll be back. Anthony Wayne, I'm going to use the word tradition.
Yeah.
So they'll be back. Clay, I'm going to use the word tradition. St. John's, I'm going to use Sam Fisher's getting it done there.
Yep.
He'll find a way. Springfield, I'll use Dave Whitmire getting it done. He's got some pieces, losing Colin Leisure, but he's got some good pieces coming back.
Okay.
Don't sleep on Finley coming into the NLL. Always a lot of talent down there. So don't sleep on them. And Whitmer, Brad Densmore, I think he's done a fantastic job. And those are some of the teams I think are. Okay,
that's a good list to look forward to. A number of teams kind of spotted all throughout Northwest Ohio in different leagues and conferences. So we will be on the lookout for that in 2024. All right. Everyone wants to know who makes the cut from Mark's brainwaves. I don't want to hop in this mind ever. But we did ask him. We said, hey, get us a first-team All-BCSN. It's up to you. Who you got? Let's find out.
It's time for the BCSN Nation Podcast Question of the Week. Send us your question on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook using the @BCSN Sports and #BCSN Podcast.
All right, the question is, who made Mark's first team All-BCSN? So we did put some parameters. We didn't just say throw stuff against the wall and see what sticks. We had to give him some parameters. So we said 2 pitchers, 4 infielders, 3 outfielders, a catcher, and a utility player. So with that being said, he pieced it all together. Talk about your first team All-BCSN 2023 pitchers. Mark, let's start there.
First of all, 37 years of coaching. This is probably the most pressure I've ever had.
Steve Rockowitz, the softball counterpart who sits in this seat on the days in which you were not here, said the exact same thing.
Oh,
it's
my
pressure
goodness.
packed.
How do you do this? I can't be right. I mean there's so many good players. But
absolutely.
Let's start with pitching.
Okay.
I have to go with first team All-State, Braden Wise.
From Anthony Wayne.
10-0. 61 in third innings, 83 strikeouts, gave up 22 hits. First team All-State. He's a Finley signee. Great sign for Finley.
Okay.
I mean, helped lead them 14-0 in the league and to the state Final Four.
All right, that's one. Who's your second pitcher?
Sebastian Stevens, Ottawa Hills. Again, leading his team to the Final Four. 5-1, 49 in third innings, 87 strikeouts.
He was great. He was a bulldog. He was the kind of guy. Just give me the ball. He's a junior at the state title or state semifinal games. I love he's walking off the mound. Yeah. His not letting a sleeve get in the way of his elbow and throwing home. He jacked up his sleeve, showing off the guns. Sun's out, guns out. Yeah. Sebastian and Braden, 2 worthy honorees here on First Team All-BCSN Baseball.
And I got to see him pitch twice, and I watched his focus just to watch his eyes before the game, the Final Four game. I know his pitch count kind of up, and he had to come out of the game in the 6th inning, but, man, he's a competitor.
I love it. All right, so those are the 2 pitchers. 4 infielders. Go.
Well, player of the year in NLL, First Team All-State. I think this was kind of an easier one. 𝗦𝗦cie from Northview, senior first baseman, hit .476. 29 RBIs, again, First Team All-State NLL, deserving NLL Player of the Year, and state champion in 22.
Yeah.
Now, so, I mean, that's kind of was a no-brainer. Connor Barber, Whitmer, third baseman, 429 RBIs, second team All-State, and he had Toledo commit. I believe he is.
Connor Barber?
Yeah.
I'm not 100%. I know J.P. Wagner is a name you're going to mention here in just a second, but Connor Barber from Whitmer doing great things as well.
J.P. Wagner, shortstop St. John's, 410, track player of the year, Toledo signee, smooth as silk in the field.
Yes.
Plays that position as well as anybody around. I mean, he's just a quality player, quality young man. And next, I know his numbers weren't quite where everybody's was, but I talked to Ryan a long time, and I coached Jack Benfield from Anthony Wayne.
Yep.
Anthony Wayne doesn't go to the Final Four without him. They're not 14-0, maybe not even league champions without him. I'm going to go leadership, leadership, leadership. 3-sport athlete, didn't wrestle this year, but junior year, first team, all league in all 3 sports, football, wrestling, baseball. He didn't wrestle this year due to a late football injury.
Yep.
And to know this guy, I mean, you would think he's 25, 30-year-old guy.
Yeah,
out in the
real
business
mature.
world. So I don't know what Jack's going to major in at Ohio State University, but when he's done, somebody out there hire this guy and pay him a lot of money because this young man is top-notch.
Yeah, he had both RBIs in the state semifinal game, and what I liked about him, I actually told my son this, my 11-year-old son, because in the game in the regional semifinals, I believe he did not get a hit in that game. And several of his teammates, maybe everybody else on his team, did. But he came back in the next game, even after maybe an offer, and he delivered the walk-off game-winning RBI hit. So even when you're down, redeem yourself. That's what I love about baseball. You can play the next day or a couple days. You don't have to sit on it for a week like a football game or maybe a basketball game for a lengthy period of time. Hey, you're back at it. Get back in the dish, get back in the field, get on the mound, get behind the plate, find a way to contribute, bounce back, and he totally redeemed himself.
And he had quality at bats, even though was over. He hit the ball hard, so he was hitting the ball on the button. Jack, in 112 plate appearances for a cleanup hitter, struck out 6 times.
Wow. Yep.
That's
consistency.
That's pretty impressive.
Putting the ball in the field. All right, so that's 2 pitchers, 4 infielders. Let's move on to the outfielders. You got 3 of them. Go.
Outfielders, I have to go with 𝗦𝗦cie 𝗶𝗴𝗵𝘁, the City League Player of the Year, outfielder for Boucher. Only a sophomore, hit .500, 32 runs scored, 24 RBIs, and 10 stolen bases. Nobody hits .500. So he has to be there.
Yep. All right. Good stats for that. And then the next one, this guy, I love watching this guy play.
Lucas Donowa, who I think is the best outfielder in Northwest Ohio defensively.
Yeah.
I think he's the best. Toledo Christian senior, TAC player of the year, hit .453, 35 runs scored, 23 RBIs, 4 home runs, 8 stolen bases, and again, you're playing center field. Your defensive guy. He also threw a lot of quality innings for him. Clear-cut answer, and he's an all-state guy as well.
TAC championship level team, and the fact that when you have a guy as a manager, as a coach, that you just plug and play. You know, when you put him in the starting lineup, you put him in center field, you put him wherever, he's going to deliver. Yes, it might no one's perfect, occasional mistakes, but you don't have to worry. Ball's hit to him. Oh, yep, Lucas has got it.
Yeah, you start marking in your scorecard, F8, before your ball's caught.
Yep.
You know, I've had guys like that as well. But great player, great kid, great family.
All right, 2 more to get here. Catcher, 1 catcher. Who you got?
Well, did we get the third outfielder?
Oh, no, we didn't.
One. Okay, let's go back.
Go back. My bad. Outfielder, third outfielder.
Well, I can't leave Marco Morrison out. I got a chance to coach him as well from Anthony Wayne. Honorable mention All-State, first team All-League, All-District, 380, 26 runs, scored 27 RBIs, 5 home runs, 11 stolen bases, coming off of a serious leg injury from football and getting back and having that type of year. He's going to Ohio Northern to play baseball. All
right, so Roy, Lucas, and Marco, the 3 outfielders. Who is your catcher on first team All-BCSN baseball here on the BCSN Nation podcast powered by Marco's Pizza?
I never caught before. My son caught, but I think catching is the most important part of the game.
Yeah.
They're the guy that handles the ball the most. So first thing that goes in my head is who receives the ball well, who blocks the ball well, who throws the ball well, but I think receiving and blocking first, who controls the game, who handles the pitchers. So 𝗏𝗏 St. John's was an easy pick for me. His offensive numbers, 364. Like I said, plus receiver, plus blocker, plus thrower, plus leader.
Yep.
Checks
a lot of boxes.
He was the best catcher that I saw this year.
Hands down. That's why you put him on your list.
Absolutely.
I like it. All right, and lastly, utility here on First Team All-BCSN Baseball.
This was high pressure, but there were so many. I had to go with Brandon Swope from Rossford, senior, first baseman pitcher. He was on the All-State team, second team All-State. He had 406, 30 RBIs. I know he was only 4-4 on the mound, but he had the toughest assignments.
Yeah.
2.82 ERA, and in those 34 2/3 innings, I got him down as 50 strikeouts. Nice left-handed pitcher, good baseball. Just a good, gritty, all-around baseball player.
All right, that's a heck of a list right there. First team All-BCSN baseball, courtesy of Mark Nell. Congrats to Braden, Sebastian, Alex, Connor, JP, Jack, Roy, Lucas, Marco, Caleb, and Brandon. Well-deserved honors here on First Team All-BCSN Baseball in 2023. Some other players that Mark brought up that kind of – a list is a list. You can't have everybody on the list, but Colin Leisure from Springfield, Jared Horston from Clay, Benny Seals from Northview, Bryce Anderson from Anthony Wayne, Jackson Sanchez from Central Catholic, Case Booth from Eastwood, Riley Ames from Northview, Avery Offenberg from Southview, A.J. George from Ottawa Hills, Xavier Coleman from Start, and then Mitch Harder from Anthony Wayne, Josiah Erd from St. Francis, Kyle Gebhardt from Toledo Christian. Also guys that he strongly considered, but you got to draw a line somewhere. But if you're getting talked about on the BCSN Nation podcast, you're doing something right. So you do have something to be proud of for your school, your class, your team, in your community.
I think we could come up with a pretty good team from this list.
Oh, absolutely.
Even the ones that weren't first team or whatever, the ones that I put in other, that could be it was a difficult. Justin, I researched, I looked at stats, I went back and looked at scorecards of the games that I got a chance to call just by my eyeball stuff and people that I know. This was hard. I stayed up till you texted me the next day. I stayed up till 2:00 in the morning.
I did
the night before.
I didn't tell him to stay up till 2:00.
But I did.
I guess you did. So it was well researched. So we appreciate that type of dedication to put this list together. But no, he's 100% accurate and right. When we do these for the other sports, first team all BCSN basketball, for example, when you cut it from 30 to 10, you're upsetting 20 players and families, and you cut it from 10 to 5, you're upsetting 5 more. So it is a difficult endeavor, but it's something that we like to do here at BCSN to showcase the best of the best, at least in the minds of what we consider, and getting feedback from coaches and the statistics, et cetera, et cetera. So first spring season in the books here as a commentator on the BCSN Nation podcast powered by Marco's Pizza. Did you enjoy yourself, Mark?
I did. I mean, when you first called me and you asked me last year to color commentate games, I was sitting there thinking, I have no training for this. And then when you told me,
figured out.
I still know. I got a long way to go. I know. And I know when you told me, you said, just talk like Uncle Mark. And I said, okay, well, I can talk baseball and strategy and stuff like that, but some of the logistical stuff. But no, I appreciate you asking me.
Yeah.
I completely have enjoyed it. I like the research part of it and getting to know names and kids and staying involved in the game because that's who I am.
Yeah.
That's
I love
really
it.
who I am.
I love it. He's a baseball guy, as am I, and we are glad that you watched and/or listened all season long here on the BCSN Nation podcast powered by 𝗦𝗫𝘀 Pizza. Tell your friends. I know some coaches have reached out to me and said, hey, we love the podcast each and every week. So tell everybody. Let people know that, hey, we're putting this content out here. That's what BCSN is all about, not only on this podcast, but on linear TV, on your cable, on BCSNNation.com, social media platforms. You can get all kinds of coverage that showcases your kids, your community, your school, your teams, all of that here. So, all right, that's it. 40 episodes in the book, and we'll have 41 coming your way in August. We'll be talking high school football at that point. But for Mark, I'm Justin. Thank you for watching and listening to the BCSN Nation podcast powered by 𝗦𝗫𝘀 Pizza. We'll see you in a couple months.